Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you a very simple graduation Debs corsage, wrist corsage. So I have been requested to do one for somebody who's wearing a pale blue dress. Now there is blue flowers available, you can get blue hydrangeas and you can get blue delphinium. But I have to travel with this, and so I decided to use fabric roses. Now fabric roses is something that we included on our brooch bouquet training course, where we show people how to actually make wedding bouquets using brooches and diamantes and glitter and bling, etc. But as part of that course we also showed how to make handmade fabric roses, and again how to make wedding bouquets using handmade fabric roses. It was something that was very much on trend there a little while ago. I still had the tutorial, obviously I still knew how to do it. So these are the little roses that I've made literally out of fabric ribbon. So just went into a fabric shop, bought a couple of meters in the colour that I needed, and then around the school here I had a few little bits and bobs of a few little feathers, few little bits of bling. I have some artificial jip. I had this beautiful lace ribbon which I thought was nice, and then obviously I have the blue ribbon. So this is literally going to be trial and error. I'm going to see how it goes. If it's a disaster, you may never actually see this video, but you listen, we'll see how it goes. So I'm using a glue gun. So this is an Oasis glue gun. In saying that, the glue guns from Lidl or Aldi will do exactly the same job. The flex on this one is short and I haven't got an extension lead in. So instead of being able to drag the glue gun along the length that I need, I'm having to slide the ribbon along. So a few little dobs of glue. So you buy the glue sticks, and the glue sticks feed into the back of the gun. Now if you buy your glue gun from Oasis, chances are it's going to be floral glue that will come with the glue gun, because obviously Oasis do, and again obviously watch your fingers when you're doing this, Oasis do floral glue. But if you buy your glue gun from Lidl or Aldi, it's more than likely going to be art and craft glue, so just to be aware of that. So now what I'm going to do, instead of using my fingers, I'm going to run the scissors down this there just to press it down and just to make sure that it's secured in places. I did think that lace ribbon was beautiful. Again, don't ask me where I bought it. It's kind of one of these things when you're in the wholesalers, you pick them up and you say, I'll use it at some stage. So this is going to be wrapped around her wrist and then just tied in a simple bow or a knot at the back. Yes, you can buy wrist corsages, as in these little bracelets, pearl bracelets, silver bracelets. To be honest, they come in all different colours, and I have them. But I just wanted to try, and to be honest, I just wanted to experiment and try something a little bit different. So what I have here now are the feathers. So we buy these in packets in the wholesalers. And normally our students, I'm just cutting the strong stem off the end, our students use them when they're making the floral wand. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along here, and then I'm just going to randomly drop the feathers down onto it. Just kind of like no particular angle, a little bit of fluff there, so just stick that down there as well, and we get another one or two little bits. So as I said, just sticking it down, no particular system, no particular pattern, and let's see how it goes. So far so good. I'm happy enough with what I've done. Just cut this little bit off. I do think I need a tiny little bit more glue. Get rid of that rubbish there. Tiny little bit more glue. Just drop it down there. And again, we'll just drop this down. Leave it for a second to kind of settle slightly. She'll be sneezing like mad, all these feathers. Oops, the daisies. There we go. Just getting rid of the little bits of rubbish. And again, you have to be careful with the glue gun because you don't want to press down too hard, or as I said, you'll end up burning the tops of your fingers. I just need one more little bit of feather sticking out the side. Just get a little bit here. And again, just tiny little bit more glue. Stick it down. There we go. And that should hold in place there. Now again, everything's not really secure, but as I'm putting on layers of glue, each item will glue the previous item. So I have these other little roses, or they're actually not roses, they're kind of more of like a daisy, cosmos sort of a flower. But I've decided that I'm going to just stick with the roses. As I said, we were just experimenting, trying it out, did a few little kind of like mini ones, and as I said, I'm going to make this up as I go along. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of the 3 roses. I'm going to go for the 3. I was undecided, will I go for the 2, and I'm just running out of glue here. So you just feed your glue stick into the back of it, and again, where's my third one here? So putting a little bit of glue on the backs of them 3 flowers, just kind of like letting that settle a little bit. And then I'm just putting a little bit of glue down on top of the feathers. Let the glue kind of like settle a little bit, that it goes slightly tacky. You'll kind of find with the hot glue, if you glue heat to heat, it takes a little bit longer. But if you just let it cool down slightly, goes a little bit tacky, I find it's more secure. But again, that's just what I do. Everybody has their own way of doing it. So I'm kind of gluing these 3 roses on, slightly on an angle, on top of the feathers. So that's why I wasn't worried about the feathers being exceptionally secure, because I knew I was going to be layering these on top. And obviously I made to press down here, and I can't feel the glue because the glue is obviously underneath. So the 3 roses are, I suppose, anybody that's done courses with me, you know, I often talk about 3 around the number 1, slightly lower on an angle. Well, I suppose in a way that's kind of what I've done. And we just lift this up just to make sure that it's not gluing to the table. Now, while that's settling, I have these little bit of blings. Now, if you know me, you know I love blings, I love sparkles, I love glitters, I love diamonds, I love pearls. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this. And I'm hoping this girl loves all the things I have just mentioned as well. So just lift that up and we'll just slide that in underneath there. And we get another little bit. And if when you're in the dressmaking shops, you see all these kind of like little bits and kind of like bobs around, and you'd be saying, God, what could you do with them? So this is just giving you ideas. You might like it, it mightn't be everybody's cup of tea, but I know this girl is fairly easy going, so I think she'll be happy with it. So there you go, lift up that rose, stick a little bit of bling coming out through that one, and use the scissors to press it down a little bit lower into it. There we go. Now, if she gets too romantic on the night, if she meets anyone, he could end up going home with a few little bits of pearls caught onto his suit, but sure, does that matter? So just lifting them up slightly. What I'm actually doing with some of them is I'm lifting up the petal of the rose and gluing this in between the petals of the rose. So again, just lift that one up slightly, stick it in there. Let that settle down, just use the scissors, get in there a little bit tighter. There we go. Again, just let that settle. I might need one more just to balance it up. Now again, you're probably saying, where did you buy these? Haven't got a clue what wholesaler I bought these in. Again, it was something that was in the box. Here in the school we have what we call the bitty box. And it's just where we stick all like bits and pieces, kind of like, you know, odds and ends. And we said, you know what, we'll use that at some stage. Could have done with this one being a bit shorter. So just before it settles, put another bit off it. Go back in again. Back onto the original bit of glue. If you're wondering if that was hot on my finger, yeah, it was slightly hot. But I'm just letting the glue peel off. Now, the next thing I have is little bits of the artificial jip. Now, do you know where I got this from? Got this from Evergreen Silk Plants up in RD. And he has a full range of artificial bits of jip. And again, some of them are more artificial looking than others. But this one, like, I'm breaking it up into tiny little pieces. So again, it's just to give me tiny little bits of jip kind of going through it. And like on its own as a bunch, I will turn around and admit it actually did look artificial looking. But when I break it up into them tiny, tiny, weeny little sprigs, I actually think it looks very realistic looking. So I'm happy enough with it. And again, what I'm doing is I'm lifting up the petals of the flowers and I'm sticking the little tiny little sprigs of jip in and out through it. And what you will find when you're using the glue gun is you'll get little cobwebs, I suppose is the best way to describe them. They're like little cobwebs of glue coming across your arrangement. Just let them settle, let them dry, and then it's easy enough then just to peel them off afterwards. It's like when the glue sticks to your finger or burns your finger, just let it kind of like go hard on your finger and then go back afterwards and just peel it off. It's the easiest way to do it. And you can say like a little prayer at the same time. Because yeah, it will be slightly sore. In case you're wondering, will that be sore? Yeah, it will be slightly sore. But you'll survive, you'll be grand. And anyway, you'll have a happy customer at the end of the day. Now, I'm doing this all in live time. So again, you can see it's not taking any length to do. Didn't have any great big plan of action. You know, that way when I started, I knew I was going to put the feathers down first, and then after that I said, listen, we'll just kind of like play it by ear. Probably took the longest for the glue gun to heat up so that I could get started. Making the little roses does take a little bit of time, but you could do this in fresh as well. Now normally if I'm doing it in fresh flowers, I actually insert like a little pad so that I don't just glue onto the ribbon. I'm able to glue onto the ribbon today because it's actually very light. There's no weight in anything that I'm doing here today, so I'm able to glue straight onto the fabric ribbon. But if you were using fresh flowers, they will be that little bit heavier. And these will be really, really secure. Like I remember my own son when he was getting married, or not getting married, sorry. My own son when he was going to his Debs, I can't remember whether it was the girls' Debs or his Debs. And I did these corsages. And one time I did it in artificial, and another time I did it in fresh, kind of for each of the two of them had their leaving certs the same year. But the thing was, at the end of the night, like I remember them saying, everybody else at the graduation, their corsages had fallen to bits, where my ones either both done in the fresh flowers or in the fabric flowers, both of them held up at the end of the night. So it is a really secure way of doing corsages in case anybody is worried or nervous about them. Do you remember even Deirdre, myself and you, we went to a ball before?
That's right.
And red and black was the theme, and I used black ribbon and I used red roses. Can't remember what else I used. We kept them kind of black and red, and we made them for the two of us that we had them kind of like on the night. Everybody admired them, and like we danced away till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I think I went to bed with mine still probably on me. But anyway, the next day I remember we actually went live and showed it, yeah. We showed what it looked like, because again I was after doing a video of making them. They're so easy. Like this part is a little bit tedious, but instead of just gluing in that one big lump of jip, you can see the way I'm just adding in the small little bits. Now I do feel I need, just for balance, I need a tiny little bit more bling. Nobody will probably notice it. I'll hold this up to you now in a second. Nobody will probably notice, but I just feel it needs one there and it needs one there. And I know when it's on a wrist, I'm not going to notice this, but just when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing it. So I'm just going to lift this up here. Slide that in underneath there. Won't get in there. There we go. Glue it back down. And I'm going to add in the other one on the other side. What do you think so far, Dave?
I think it looks well.
Do you think I'm great?
I think you're great.
Do you think I'm brilliant? Do you think she's going to like it?
I think she will.
This is for a very, very special girl. I have to say that because she's my niece. Now, the end piece as well, I'm just letting that settle. I'm just kind of folding them over, and I'm doing that dovetail cut upwards into it just so they get that fancy little V at the end. And chances are I might need a tiny little bit more glue just to make sure that it's nicely secured. And really what I should have done was done this cut before I glued it, and then I wouldn't have to go back afterwards. Just checking here, just a tiny little bit of glue just to hold it. Not that much, to be honest. I'm literally just running the blade of the glue gun kind of down onto it. Now, because I haven't got the extension lead plugged in, you can see the way I had to slide it down. And there's a bit more glue on this end, so I'm going to use the scissors rather than my fingers. There we go. Another tiny bit of glue here and there. Probably should have put a bit more glue to start off with when I was gluing down 2 ribbons together. But I did say at the beginning I was experimenting and I was trying this out, and I hadn't done this with this ribbon before, and I know exactly the mistake that I made. I put the row of glue down the centre of the blue ribbon, where I should have really put the row of glue down the 2 edges of the ribbon, and I'm copying onto that now. So if you're copying this at any stage, at least now you're learning by my mistakes. But I did admit at the beginning I didn't know what I was doing, I was just trying this out. Okay, so that's actually wearing the right colour myself today. So that is going to be her wrist corsage, and then we're just going to tie it onto her wrist and tie a little bow at the back. I know this girl is going to look the most amazing princess, and I'll get a photograph of her when she's dressed up and I'll post it here on social media just so that you can have a look at it. Thanks for watching. If you do have any questions, put them in the comments.